Let's take a trip down memory lane. The year is 2007. You're in the 7th grade, and your teacher comes in with a duffel bag like this. You obviously know what you're going to be doing in class that day. That's right, folks, I have acquired a complete einstruction CPS system, or classroom performance system. Now, these were very popular in the early 2000s, late 2000s. The company itself, einstruction, I later found out, does not actually exist anymore. I think the company went out of business. But these were also known as clickers. And my school district was a big user of these. And I happen to have, and I remember on numerous occasions using these clickers during class. For those of you who have never seen these before, who have no idea what this is, I'll explain. The CPS system was developed for educators to poll a classroom of students during a lesson. The best way to describe it is, think of it as the Ask the Audience lifeline on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. They had those little clickers, A, B, C, or D. Vote now. Okay. So that's kind of what it was. And my school district, as I mentioned, was a big user of these. And I know a lot of other school districts around the country, and maybe even in the world, were very popular with these. And I have acquired from everyone's favorite website, eBay, I have acquired a complete set of CPS clickers along with the software and the receiver. So let's go in there and take a look at what this looks like in here. And so again, this is a complete system, and as I've mentioned, the company itself, einstruction, is no longer in business. I think they went out of business, or they were bought by another company. And since these are older, this is an older system, these are no longer supported by the new company. So you can often find these going for little money. So this is what the clickers look like. There's 32 clickers in this particular pack, and this is a little bit of a newer style compared to the ones that I remember using. But this is what the clickers look like. It's got their traditional A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And so this is the clickers here. This is a little bit of a newer style. The serial number on some of these have been rubbed off, but you can just pretty much read that there. And I think I've dated this particular system from around 2010. So the ones I remember using are the blue clickers. Those are the ones I remember using. But this is a complete set. It's got all the software. It's got all the clickers in there. The software, the actual software to make these things work. The actual IR receiver, or receiver. I almost call it a transmitter. This is a transmitter. This is a receiver. So the receiver works off USB power, and this is the receiver here. And what else is in here? I know there's a bunch of other stuff in here. Here's a business card. It says einstruction, simple solutions, real results. I'm sure that number is no longer in service. And that website doesn't exist because I know I've checked out that website and it no longer exists. So again, this is something that, and I've also got this as well, a complete guide to show you how to operate a PowerPoint add-on for engaging CPS lessons with PowerPoint. And this is how most of the teachers, when I went to school, most of the teachers use the add-on with PowerPoint. But there is software that is included with this that allows you to use the included software to make this work. So what would happen is, during a normal class lesson, all the teachers would hand out all these clickers. They would give one to every student, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I've gone through and checked all the batteries on here, which is a good thing because I found one of the clickers had leaking batteries. And then the teacher would plug this into their computer, which was mostly a MacBook, or let's be a little bit more realistic. Most of the teachers at the time had iBooks or PowerBook G4s. But around 2007, a couple of my teachers did have the white MacBooks along with the first generation MacBook Pros, but most of them still had iBooks and PowerBooks. But so they would plug this into their computer, and they would open up their CPS lesson. And we used to have what was called the Safari system, and I don't even know if that's a company that's still in business. But Safari Technologies was a company that supplied certain technology aspects to school districts, like, you know, the projectors and stuff like that. And so, and I don't even think that's a company that's in business anymore. But, you know, it tells you how long it's been since I've been in school. A long time. But, no, I mean, not that long ago. What I thought I'd do is, because I'm not sure how many of you guys have actually seen these things before, how many of you actually went to school and actually had a school district who used these things, I actually want to do a little demo of this for you. But one of the reasons these things are being sold off in large quantities, like you can go on eBay right now and search up einstruction on eBay. Just go on eBay and search up einstruction, and you'll literally find, I think I found like maybe 20 of these things on eBay. And the reason for that is because the new company that exists, whatever it's called, no longer supports these, and the software that is designed to run these clickers don't work on newer computers, from what I've heard. So we're going to test that theory. We're going to try to see if the old MacBook Pro here can read the CPS disk. And now this is something I have not tried, so I don't know if it's going to work. But from what I've read online, it doesn't work on newer computers. And so we're going to try that. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, gee, Hunter, you have a Retina MacBook Pro. How in the world are you going to test this thing if you don't have, if your MacBook Pro does not have a CD-ROM drive? Well, the answer to that question lies with this. This is a Memorex external USB CD-RW, DVD-RW, double layer CD burner and DVD burner. I've had this for quite a number of years. I actually picked this up at Goodwill for basically nothing, and it's connected into my MacBook Pro. So we're going to see if indeed it will read a disk. And from what I've read online, the software doesn't work on newer computers, hence the reason why these are being sold off in large quantities. So let's see if the Mac can read it here. I'm sure it'll read the disk, but it probably won't install the software. Let's see. No, we get this message. The disk you attached was not readable by this computer. So that's very interesting. So maybe the disk is coded for older systems. I'm not sure. This is a 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro running the beta of macOS Monterey. And so apparently this does not work on newer machines. So let's see, should we try it on the iMac, the Luxolamp iMac? Well, I think we have another machine that we can do this on. So here we have my 2004 15-inch PowerBook G4, and actually I think this is a 2003. It was the first 15-inch aluminum PowerBook Apple release, so it was 2000. Yeah, 2004 is correct. And I did a video on this when I first got it. Of course, I got it with the original box and everything. I've had this stored away in its box, but I've had the battery charging, so it should power up. There it goes, on its own battery, but we'll plug it into power here. Funny story about the power cable, too, by the way. The power cable I'm using is not the correct one that goes to this machine. You'll notice it's a black barrel type, because the actual power supply that came with this machine died. Can you believe that? And this is the power supply that I'm using. This yo-yo power supply. Some of you may have never seen these before either. This was Apple's first power supply that integrated a cord wrap. And you can tell why it was called the yo-yo power supply, because it looks like a gigantic yo-yo. And this, and I've mentioned before in my previous videos, there were 2 different generations of yo-yo power supplies. This was the second gen. The first generation had a transparent power cable, and the barrel was bigger. That goes to the G3 PowerBooks and the iBook clamshell. This power adapter that has the black cable and the black barrel originally shipped with the original G4 PowerBook titanium, and I believe the first incarnation of the white iBook G3s also shipped with this power supply before they came out with the brick power supplies. So these yo-yo power supplies are damn near impossible to find. And this is the only one I've kept. And I've kept it because it works. And the only thing I don't have for it is the actual Apple cable. So this is just a generico power supply cable I stuck in there. So it's supposed to sit on its end like that if it had the original cable, but it doesn't. And you can't find that either. And the other thing about the power supply, so this power supply will work on this machine. It does work with it, but it's not the right one that goes with it. And the brick power supplies that go to these are also getting impossible to find. For some reason there's a password on this thing, but I don't think there is. I think all I have to do is enter my username and it should log me in. Yes, yes, no, yes, there we go. So this is a 1 gigahertz PowerPC G4, PowerBook G4. This was the first 15-inch aluminum PowerBook Apple released. It does not have the backlit keyboard. But this is more of a appropriate machine of what my teachers would have had around 2006, 2007. Most of my teachers had iBooks, either the white G3 iBooks or the G4 iBooks. But I did have a couple teachers who had a 15-inch G4 PowerBook. But most of them had iBooks. So this machine is ideal to run this software. And so what we're going to do is, so if you happen to get one of these, understand you have to have an older computer. It will not work on newer machines, as you just saw. So what we're going to do is you're going to insert the disc, whoop, right into there. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to install the software that runs this, because these clickers obviously need a piece of software in order to run. And so that's the first thing you'll want to do, is it mounts right up here on our desktop. And that is the first thing we want to do, is install the software. So we want to install the CPS software first. And then also, if you have the Office Suite installed, you can install the CPS add-on for PowerPoint. And you can tell that there was a different style of clicker release. These clickers here are based on IR technology. Those are RF clickers. These are the IR clickers, and they're more... And I don't know if this is for sure, but I want to say that these style of clickers here was the lower option, was the budget option, and those higher end clickers there with the little display was the higher end models. I want to say that's what it would have been, but I could be wrong in that assumption. But I know we never use those. We always use clickers like this. So that's what you want to do first. Spoiler alert, I've already installed the software on here. I've already got this working, so in that way we don't have to waste our time doing that. Because obviously I've used the clickers before as a student, but I've never used it as an educator, so to speak. I've never set up one of these systems, so I had to learn how to do it. And it wasn't as difficult as it seemed like. I was making it more difficult than it needed to be. But anyway, so the software is already installed. You can see it's running up there in the menu bar, the einstruction device manager. So what we're going to do to make these clickers work is we first need to plug in this guy. This is our receiver. And this is really the main component of these systems, is the receiver. And it comes with this unnecessarily long USB cable. I guess the idea behind this was teachers could leave this plugged into their computer at all times. But then again, I guess it also worked if they had a desktop. Like I know, some school districts had desktops for teachers. The school district I attended, all the teachers had laptops. Like I said, mostly iBooks and PowerBooks and MacBooks when those came around. I don't think I ever had a teacher who had a desktop. I think they all had notebooks. The school district I attended was a very Mac-centric school district. The only Windows machines in the school district were in the high school, and they were for business classes. And there was only like 2 computer labs that had Windows PCs. They were Dell Optiplex towers, and they were for business class reasons. But most of the computer labs had iMacs in them, and also the mobile labs had the iBooks and the MacBooks. But now I've heard they've gotten into Chromebooks now very heavily, as a lot of school districts have, obviously because they're cheaper. Okay, so that's our receiver plugged in, and so now what we need to do is, as I mentioned, there's 2 ways you can run this software. You can run it through the actual CPS software, which is in our applications folder, and so there's a new folder in here when you install the software called CPS. And then there's 2 different things in the CPS folder. There's CPS here, that's the main software, or the PowerPoint add-on. If you double click on this will actually open PowerPoint. But instead, we actually want to click on this, because this is what I set it up in. I couldn't get the PowerPoint one to work. I still need to fiddle around with that. And I'm sure that's how most of my teachers did it, was the PowerPoint add-on. But what they do with this is teachers will go in and they'll add questions. And it's multiple choice, A, B, C, or D, all of the above, things like that. So I've already created a database, or database, whatever your pronunciation is, database, but tomato, anyway. So this is the database. So when you first get this, you'd have to set up a database. It's very easy to do. And then what we want to do is, I've already created a database here. It says YouTube, and there's a database there, and I've already put a question in here because we're going to test this, and hopefully this works. It does get a little iffy, but I think I figured it out. What connections are required to connect a Bluetooth device to a PC? And honest to God, when I was in college, my first major in college was CIS, Computer Information Systems. And one of the courses I took in college was called IT Essentials. And I swear to God, as God is my witness, that is a legit question on one of the tests we took. So here's some answers here. RJ45, parallel, none, it's wireless, USB. So obviously we know the answer is C, none, it's wireless. And so obviously you can add as many questions as you want here. So we're going to save that, and we're going to exit out of that. What we need to do here is we need to add a student. So you see in our YouTube database, we already have a student here, John Doe, iPad number, or pad. This is an iPad, 8th generation iPad with the magic keyboard, by the way. Where is pad number 1? Ah, here it is. They're assigned pad number 1. I pulled out, how many of these damn things did I pull out? 7. So we got to add more students. So to add a student, we're going to go into click Add New, Student 2, Pad 2. And we're going to just leave all this alone. And actually, I think I'll do, let's see, 4. Let's just do 4. So 4, this is the clicker number that they're assigned to, 1, 2, 3, 4, the name of the student. Some teachers, and I don't know if all the teachers I had did this, they probably didn't, but if you want to keep it all anonymous, you didn't put names in there. But if you had the clickers assigned to students, then you would put their names in. I think we've got that. Now I need to test the receivers, and to do that we need to go to the device manager. It sees our receiver there. And by the way, this is a step that you also need to do. You also need to make the device manager see the receiver. It's not necessarily plug and play, which is backwards when you think about it, because USB is plug and play. Well, not with this software. You have to tell the device manager to point to this in order to see it. So it's kind of backwards, but that's just the way it is. So I gotta remember here. Let me see. So you want to do that, and the first thing you want to do is, many people will press this plus button. If you get one of these, don't do that, because that will add Bluetooth devices. The pads, the ones that look like that and that icon, Those are Bluetooth enabled, I believe, or RF enabled, and I think, you know, the receiver is Bluetooth, I believe, but these aren't. These are USB. So in order to make these receivers work, these IR receivers, you have to go into Options, Add Gen 1 IR, and then you'll see it'll see it, and then it'll probably add it again as a second one. Yeah. So you press any key on the clicker to detect the receiver. So you just pull out one of the clickers and click it, and it won't necessarily detect. You have to hit it again. See, then it sees it USB serial. Okay. Now we have 2 of these. We don't need 2 of them in there, so we're just going to take that, remove that. So now, what I need to do is, whoops, here. There we go. So what I need to do is I need to test these pads, because I've noticed if you don't do that, they don't seem to work. Okay, so back in the device manager to test the clickers, and I think I have to do this every time, because I've noticed if I don't do this, sometimes it doesn't work, and watch it prove me be a liar. But we want to click on our IR. So we want to click on our infrared receiver, and then we want to click on the properties button, and then we want to click on test, and then all I have to do is just click the start receiver button, and then click 1, so you see it tests there, and then we'll do number 2. There we go, added that. Number 3, bada boom. I think we did 5, right? So we got a 4, 5. There we go. And you can see that all the clickers have responded, so they're being seen. So that's good. I've noticed if I don't do this, it doesn't seem to work for some reason. Could be I'm not doing something right, or something along those lines, which I wouldn't put it past if I'm not doing it right. I know nothing. We're ready to go. So what the teacher's going to do is, they have all their questions here. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the preview button. Or not that button, I'm sorry. We're not going to click on that button. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the engage button right there. And then we're going to get this list. We're going to keep all that the same. And we're going to click on start. And then we're going to click on question 1, and up it comes. Now normally this would show up on a projector or a monitor or whatever the classroom is using. And obviously, again, as I mentioned, this is my fault. So we're going to click on the start button right here, and we are going to start this. So here we go. We've got 4 pads registered. Should be 5. I don't understand why there's 4. It should be 5, shouldn't there be? Anyway, so the question, what connections are required to connect a Bluetooth device to a PC? Is it A, RJ45, B, parallel, C, none, it's wireless, D, USB? Vote now. So again, we'll take our clickers, and I'm just going to randomly vote here, at least get a couple that have the correct answer. And see, 2 has responded, 4 has responded, 3 you're slow. That's not a correct answer. 3 you're slow. Okay, so everybody has responded. So we're going to click end. And then the correct answer is C, it's wireless. Ding, 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 ding. That means, let's see, 2 people got it right, 1 person selected USB, and 1 person selected RJ45. Woohoo! Okay, so again, there's a whole bunch of software in here, a bunch of stuff I don't really understand. You know, this is more along the lines of the educator stuff, I'm assuming, but, you know, and all that stuff. So, again, you know, as I said, you can pick these up for literally nothing, since these are no longer supported anymore. And again, I don't know what in the world you would use these for. Apparently my CD is still in here. But, like I said, you can pick these up for literally nothing. I think for this whole set of 32 clickers and the software along with the IR thing, I think I only paid something like $28 for it, and I don't know how much these would have been brand new, but I'm guaranteeing you they were not $28 when you could buy them direct from einstruction. So I don't know how much these were. My guess is this whole system probably would have been maybe a couple $100 per set. That's my estimation. At the end of the day, all the clickers go back into their little styrofoam, this foamy stuff, which is going to deteriorate eventually. This is the kind of padding, this is like soundproof material, this foam, and it doesn't withstand to age very well. One of these days I'll probably, and you know, this whole thing is probably going to go straight in my closet to be buried in the back of my closet to be forgotten about, and then in a 5 or 6 years I'll pull it out and be like, hey, I forgot I had this, and then I'll pull all the clickers out and they're melted in with the foam because the foam is turned to mush. So, you know, but that's what they used, and foam doesn't really last very long, but that's just the way it is. So again, you know, this is just a fun little thing to just have and to play around with. And again, I don't really know what practical purpose these would have. I mean, I guess if you do like lessons. Okay, so I've done a little research here, and according to our best friend Wikipedia, einstruction was founded in 1981. And they created a handheld clicker system called the CPS. einstruction was purchased by Turning Technologies in 2013. So apparently this is the new company that bought einstruction, is Turning Technologies. So anyway, like I said, you know, these things are so outdated, I don't know what in the world you'd use them for, but again, you know, like I said, if you use these things, they might be nice to just reminisce if you have the old, or, you know, if you have a collection of old computers, this would be a nice thing to have, just as a nice thing to play around with, or whatever. Like I said, these things are going for very cheap money. So anyway, that's the video for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from the Techies Booth, hit the subscribe button down below, along with that bell icon, so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. It's after midnight, okay, and I'm really tired. So yeah, you know how to do all that. Follow all the social media accounts, and I'll see you with the next tech video. Thank you for watching.